Don't Depend on Daddy is an unfiltered safe space, empowering young professionals to build independence in their 20s and beyond, whether it be personal, professional, or financial. Regardless of your age, relationship status, or job title, the most consistent person in your life is you. So join me and let's build our independence together. Enjoy!
So as we've discussed, I am not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, and so I like to use January as a full reset month, especially after the holiday period where you're likely eating a lot more than you usually do. There's a lot of sugar, you're not exercising in the same way, you might be traveling, so you're out of your routine. For me, January is like that month of the year where you can take a big exhale and focus on your wellness and habits and routines to really set yourself up for a better and more confident, happier, healthier year. So I like to use the whole month of January to do this. This is really the one time of the year where I'm super hyper focused on wellness, and I like to elevate it a little bit. In my opinion, January is the easiest month of the year to build momentum because not only do we have the fresh New Year's energy, but generally it's a slower social month. You're maybe doing a little bit more hibernation and you have some more time at home. It's the perfect time to do a little bit of a reset and add in some extra things that can pack a punch when you are kicking off the new year so that you feel really good. I literally look forward to January every year because it's usually a month where I have none, if very minimal travel, and I can just really settle into my routines before the energy of the year starts to pick up. So we are going to talk today about my January wellness protocol. So these are going to be all of the things that I like to do in January from a health, fitness, and wellness perspective, just to reset. I do want to define what I mean by protocol because I feel like that sounds like a serious word, but it's not that serious. It really is just a structure that can help remove decision fatigue. Okay. So think of it like a 30-day soft reset. I know we're halfway through the month, but you can kind of do this whenever you want. It's very different from a 75 hard or a whole 30 or any of those, in my opinion, arbitrary challenges that are hard to stick to after a week and feel really restrictive, because the goal is to actually build and incorporate habits into your routine that help you feel good, that you can stick to beyond January because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. To me, personally, the fastest way that I end up resenting doing something and then not wanting to do it at all is to be in a position where I am forcing myself to do it. And I feel like that is what happens when you do a 75 hard or a whole 30 challenge. It's you're forcing yourself to do something that maybe you don't really want to continue doing, but you feel like you have to. To me, it's totally different than having discipline because discipline comes from a place of a desire to change, whereas forcing yourself to do something because you've committed to a 75 hard, in my opinion, breeds resentment. Like I said, the fastest way for me to hate doing something is to feel forced to do it. I'll give you an example. In 2018, I ran a marathon. I ran the Boston Marathon. And up until that point, I was a very avid runner. I did half marathons. I ran, this is actually funny, up until, I would say after 2018, I ran for a year-ish. But essentially up until the pandemic, I would run every single morning 4 or 5 miles. And 2018 was kind of the beginning of dwindling my running career. And it is really because I fell out of love with it because I started to force myself to do it. I would say training for a marathon was one of those things where because you're on such a specific training schedule, your whole life starts to revolve around it. And that is what breeded the resentment for me because I felt like I couldn't do anything because on a Saturday I had to go run 20 miles and it was just becoming a chore. And so ultimately now I no longer run because I associate running with forcing myself to do something that I don't like. And to me, it's just not a healthy thing. So we're taking a different approach in 2026. This is what I like to do. And so think of this as a menu of things that you can do and choose and pick from and modify and you can incorporate what you want and what you don't want. As I said, I know we're halfway through January, but it's not that deep. Okay, so like it's totally fine if you are just getting started on your January wellness journey, or if you're listening to this in July and you want to do a little bit of a 30-day reset. I would think of this as like a 30-day or a 2-week to 4-week chill, gentle reset that you can do whenever you feel like you need to reset the bod a little bit. But right now it's January, so we're doing a New Year's January reset protocol. So there is a bit of a framework here, and I'm going to just walk through it. First are the layers of the non-negotiable. So this is going to be layer 1. These are like tiny doable things that you can do every day. For example, if nothing else, I did this action. So like tongue scraping, warm drink, probiotic, tea at night, walking 10,000 steps. Those are a few examples. And then layer 2 are the weekly focus tasks. So these are habits that you can do a few times a week and stick to throughout the month, because the goal of this to be successful is to not try to fix your whole life at once. That's like one of my biggest issues with the New Year's is everybody tries to do everything all at the same time. What that does, it leads to burnout and exhaustion. You start to resent how you feel about all of these habits, and then ultimately you don't do them. There's like literally a day, I think I mentioned this in last week's episode, of the year that's called like the official day that people stop doing their New Year's resolutions. We're not doing that this year. Anyways, an example of a weekly focus could be incorporating a face mask at night, or, increasing the amount of time that you go in the morning and the evenings without screen time, or adding the sauna into your routine. So we'll talk about this, but we're going to get into the details of the daily non-negotiables first. So when we're thinking about non-negotiables, I want you to choose 3 to 5, we'll say 3 to 5 daily anchors that will set you up for success. So I'm going to share mine, and you can use these as inspo. First is my morning wellness lineup. So I am doing this every morning in January. I'm having a warm drink. So that could either be a warm lemon water. I have lemon ginger cubes that I made with my juicer. I just juiced a bunch of lemon and ginger and I put them in an ice tray. So now I have little cubes, and I'll heat up some water. I'll put in one of those cubes and I'll drink that first thing in the morning. Or it could be like a lemon tea or just like a lemon water, just depends what I have. Then I have a scoop of coconut cult. I'm doing coconut cult every day for the month of January. I'll take my vitamin, I'll drink some water, and then I'll have my coffee in that order. This is just really for me to like set up my digestion, hydrate my body right after I wake up as the first thing in the morning. I really want to become one of those wellness girls or wellness people in general that has a really good hydration in morning, kicking off your digestion routine. I don't personally struggle with digestion because I think it's because I eat a lot of fiber, but I do think that I could continue to optimize and just be a little bit healthier. I also think this helps a lot with immunity, especially during the winter time when people are getting sick, like taking a vitamin and everything. So I've actually been taking the Mary Ruth's liquid vitamin. It comes in like a big bottle. I bought it at Whole Foods. Once you open it, you have to keep it in the fridge, but I bought it in just the vitamin section. And I got the strawberry kind. It's pretty good. It tastes a little bit like medicine, but I just don't really like big pills. And I find that I never end up taking big pills, even when I am the most well-intentioned. So the liquid vitamin, I feel like is easier for me to I pour it into my espresso cups and I take it like a shot. And it's really easy. I think it tastes fine. So, and then I'll wash it down with water. And then after that, I can have my coffee. Next, my second anchor is my expanded morning and evening skincare routine. So January is a big like self and body care month for me every year. It's when I'm running the heat in my apartment, so my skin is a little bit more dry. It's cold out, and I just want to feel good despite all of the like external things that make you feel kind of like dried out from within in the wintertime. So what I've been doing, specifically focused on like my face skincare and my body care at night, is giving myself the extra 5 or 10 minutes every morning and every night to really, really get in there. I like to ice my face. I use my products slowly. I let them sink into my skin so that I can have that little bit of an extra glow up. I've been spending a little bit of extra time on my dental routine. So I've been tongue scraping, I've been water flossing, and I've been using a whitening mouthwash. And really just taking this extra 5 or 10 minutes in the morning and at night, especially too with body care. I've been using a body retinol. It's just made me feel so much better in my body. And it's all small little things that you can do. I feel like I went through a period after the holidays where my skin broke out a little bit more than I personally am comfortable with. And it's because of the sugar and the travel and the stress and the being out of my routine. I feel like no matter how much I try when I travel to stick to a routine, it just like it's traveling. So I'm not going to fully be in my usual day to day, and that's fine. But I do feel like I pay the price a week later when I get back into my space and I get a couple of spots. It drives me crazy. It's not that big of a deal because it's all fixable, but like I'm just focusing very much so on my skincare routine. My third anchor is focusing on fiber and really going green during this month. So this means I'm incorporating as much fiber as I can into all 3 meals of the day. But more specifically, I would say lunch and dinner because I don't really eat vegetables at breakfast. I would say most of the time. Sometimes I do if I'm doing like a tofu scramble. I don't eat eggs. So like if I was trying to make I'll do a tofu scramble, which I would say is like the equivalent of eggs, or like an egg scramble or an omelet or something. Then I'll add vegetables into that because it's more savory. But usually I have oatmeal for breakfast. So like lunch and dinner is where I'm focusing on fiber. And the goal is to have half of my plate of green vegetables and really focusing on water-based cooking. So the water-based cooking stems from this book I'm reading about traditional Chinese medicine. I will do a whole podcast episode about that, but I'm still reading the book and like learning about it. So it's going to be a little bit, but focusing on fiber again helps with digestion. It helps with just clearing out the bod. And I think it's really important to be getting as many greens as you possibly can and kicking the year off with like the healthy eating. So I've been focusing on fiber and I've been focusing on lots and lots and lots of green vegetables and just making that like the primary focus of my meals. My fourth anchor is a movement minimum. So this isn't something that I really struggle with a ton because as you may know, if you listen to the show, I'm always getting my 10K steps in. And I am on a pretty good routine with strength. The challenge is there's usually always one day of the week or 2 days of the week where I'm really sore or I'm just not in the mood. And so I will generally still make an effort to get my steps in. But what I want to do is on the days that I'm not doing my strength training, I want to incorporate a 20-minute stretch or like a yoga flow or something. And I have been doing this. I've been squeezing it in. I feel like I always too in January focus so much on work that I feel like I never have time to do the extra things. And that's part of this is like slowing down and focusing on making sure these habits actually end up sticking in my day. But I don't stretch very often. And so stretching is something that I've been incorporating more into my routine on the days that I'm not either doing a form workout for my strength or taking a class. So I've been feeling good by doing that. And I just feel like flexibility and mobility is something that I want to focus on in 2026 overall. And then lastly, my last anchor is my sleep setup. So what this is for me, I'm focused on sleep hygiene. Maybe I will do a full episode 2 on sleep hygiene. I feel like it's too soon, but ever since I got my Oura Ring, I do have an episode all about my Oura Ring. I have been very focused on sleep hygiene and knowing my sleep score and everything. But so at night, I've been following a pretty, I don't want to say strict, but like strict routine where I will brick my phone at 8 p.m. and put my phone away completely. And then I am aiming to either watch an episode of a show if I'm unwinding, but without my phone, or go to bed early and read. I feel like I've been reading more this month just because I've hit the good part of my book. I want to finish it and I've been tired and I'm trying to get up earlier. So like I want to go into bed earlier too. So those are my 5 anchors, my morning wellness lineup. So that's like all my drinks, my expanded morning and evening skincare routine, focusing on fiber, making sure I'm getting in movement every day, and then my sleep setup and sleep hygiene. The other thing is, I've been listening to a podcast in the morning while I'm doing my skincare and like my morning admin and all of that. Something that I am exposing myself on is I used to scroll while I was doing my skincare, brushing my teeth, whatever. Like I just couldn't get out of the addictive behavior there with my phone as much as I wanted to. It was so hard. It's literally like an addiction. And so I don't like that, obviously. It's not how I want to live my life. I don't want to be scrolling 24/7. I don't want to feel like I constantly need to be stimulated. So to kind of get off of that, I have been listening to a podcast. And what I feel like that does is it just, A, keeps my phone occupied, but B, it gives me something to like engage with that's a little bit more passive. I think the challenge that I have is because I live alone, I do spend a lot of time alone. I also work from home. So like I spend a lot of days alone unless I build in that social time. So sometimes I just need a little something, right? And so I don't want to shame myself for that. So the podcast, listening to a podcast has been a great filler, especially because I haven't been doing my morning walks just because it's so cold out. Like I'm not going outside when it's 5 degrees. And I don't like to walk on the treadmill in the morning. It's just not something that I enjoy. And so I'm not forcing myself to do it. So instead, I've just been replacing that morning time where I would have been listening to a podcast, and I listen to it while I'm doing like all my admin and whatnot. And I feel like it's been a really good habit to incorporate into my morning routine just because it feels like the start to my day. Because over the summer and in the spring and stuff, that's how I would start my day, with a podcast. And it's felt a little bit different as my routine has shifted over the winter. Okay, so I'd love to hear one of your morning anchors that you are going to incorporate in your wellness protocol in the comments. And also let me know if you have one that's like beyond the ones that I mentioned. Moving on, let's get into the weekly add-ons. So I find that there are generally habits that I want to incorporate into my broader wellness routine and build on. But if I do them all at once and focus on trying to get them in every day, I feel like they're those kinds of things that are like a little bit too hard. Like it almost feels like too much and I don't want to burn out or get tired of it. So these are those bigger things that I want to gradually incorporate into my routine. They may not be like these everyday habits or anchors, but they're the weekly things that will help elevate the wellness and the glow up of it all. The goal is habit stacking. So again, they're not everyday things. It's bringing them into my routine, I would say like 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the week, what I have going on. And then every week I've been adding in an additional one. So for the first week of January, I have started to incorporate sauna time on the days where I'm washing my hair. So I have a sauna in my apartment building and I don't take advantage of it enough. I did when I first moved in, but I kind of got into this weird rhythm of like, oh, it's just like too annoying to go down there, which is so dumb. Like, I just don't like that was a mindset that I was in at all. So what I've done is I've started incorporating it as a non-negotiable on the days where I am doing a hair wash day, because I'm not going to go in the sauna on a day that I'm not like doing an everything shower, because I think personally that's gross. Like if my hair is all sweaty, it has to be washed, and I wash my hair every other day. So my minimum is before I get into the shower, I will go down to the sauna for at least 10 minutes. I want to work up to like 20 or 30 minutes, but we're doing baby steps. There's no excuse. It's only 10 minutes of my day. We'll say it's 15 minutes total all in between going down there and coming back up. It's not a big deal, and it makes such a big difference in how I feel and the detoxification of the body. I saw on a TikTok clip from a podcast that I did not watch, but do with this what you will, that there's some sort of study or research about how 20 minutes in the sauna 4 times a week can have like a significant impact on your longevity and like developing diseases and whatnot. So I feel like if I have access to a sauna, there's no reason why I shouldn't be using it and prioritizing that as part of my routine, especially since it's not like a 1 hour commitment. It's literally 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes on the high end. And what it does, especially in the wintertime, is it just helps you like detoxify and feels really good doing the contrast therapy when it's really, really cold out. I feel like winter wellness and living in a place that is very cold, taking advantage of sauna time is just great for glowy skin, like I said, detoxifying wellness overall. So this was my January week 1 focus. We're going strong. I want to be in the sauna at least 3 times a week, but I'd like to work up to 4 and for longer periods of time each time. But we're taking it day by day because I don't want to overdo it and get sick of going in there. And yeah, so the sauna time has been consistent. Number 2, this is what I'm working on this week, and this is incorporating a face mask into my evening routine again on the days that I am doing a full shower. So on the days where I'm showering, I just need a plan that like I'm going to have a little bit of extra stuff going on and almost lean into that. 2026 is a big project pan year for me. I really am trying to continue on focusing using up what I have. And while I did try to do this last year, I was not super successful. I just didn't hold myself accountable to it in the same way, which I think is fine because I do feel like I really figured out the products and stuff that work for my skin. I'm very happy with my skin, so no complaints, but I do have a bit of a product backlog going on, specifically a face mask that I bought when I was in Japan and Korea. And I really want to start working through them because there's a lot and like I don't want them to expire. So now on the nights where I'm washing my hair, I'm adding in also doing a face mask. So like I'll go to the sauna, I'll do my shower, I'll get out of the shower, I do my red light face mask every day. So that's not part of this because that's already sort of, built into my life and routine. Skincare, and then I'm putting on my face mask. I'll say like after I do my dinner, and I'm like lounging around, that's face mask time. So I think this is going to be really beneficial for keeping my skin really hydrated and moisturized during these colder months. And generally speaking, I feel like face masks just keep your skin really healthy. Like to me, it's something I do when I want a little bit of extra self-care. So why am I not doing that more frequently? I always push it off just because I feel like they can be a little bit annoying. But I think in the spirit of winding down at night and really like just relaxing and leaning into the hibernation of it all, a face mask is a really great way to lean into that because the ones that at least I have, I do like the Biodance ones, but I don't have any of those that I need to get through. The ones I have are sheet masks, so they're like paper and they're very, very saturated. So for like the first 10 minutes you have it on, you really can't walk around or else it will slip off of your face. So I'm kind of just like laying flat on the couch watching a show or reading with my Kindle up so that it kind of starts to like really seep into my skin. So this is going to be like gentle forcing myself to chill. Moving on, juicing. This is something that I've already been doing once per week in January. I have a juicer. I have the Huram 310 or like 0310 or something like that. It's on my ShopMy. And I don't use it enough. And I really, really, really want to be the kind of person who juices on a weekly basis. So I'm committing to it in January. I put myself on a weekly juice routine where every week I've been doing 1 orange juice and 1 green juice. The orange juice is carrot, turmeric, orange, and ginger. And I feel like that one I found on TikTok is like a vitamin A, drinking your retinol kind of juice. It's sweeter. It's so good. Like it's so good. And the green juice is a cucumber, celery, ginger, apple, lemon, kale vibe. That one is a little bit tangier. It's not as easy to get down. I find that with juice, it's easier to drink when you put it in a cup with a straw. I kind of just like suck it down in the morning. And I do feel like the extra nutrients in the juice, in addition to the daily focus on fiber, is really, really good for the skin and really good for that internal glow from within and maintaining immunity. And I think in January and even into February, this is going to be a habit that can help with not getting sick and just feeling overall energetic and better. So I'm going to be doing more juicing and prioritizing that, like I said, as part of my weekly routine, but also like my groceries and all, just because on the weeks that I do add in the juice, I do feel better. And I do think that adding in the extra nutrients from the juice too can have a very tangible impact on your skin. And a big thing that I am really focused on and have been focused on is glowy, bright, hydrated skin. So I'll do whatever And juicing and getting in the habit of juicing this January, I think is going to be a really good habit for 2026. And then lastly, this one, so important, a weekly call and organization. So I am not a huge Sunday reset kind of gal because I'm an everyday reset kind of gal. I cannot exist in a space that isn't clean. So literally every night I clean my space. I do my dishes. I empty my dishwasher every single morning. I run the dishwasher every single day. I'm always doing laundry. Like, I am not a save it till Sunday kind of person because I cannot function in an apartment or a space like that, especially because I spend so much time here. So this is, I guess, not something that I need to like work on per se, but the organization and cull of it all, so like decluttering and tidying, is something that I need to work on, because my big theme this year is intentional refinement and refining my life intentionally, my money, my things, my closet, my space, my people, whatever. And part of that is really honing down my space and my things and discarding. So I did a whole episode a couple of months ago on tidying and discarding. If you are inspired to do that this year, I highly recommend going to watch that, because I read the Marie Kondo Art of Tidying Up book, and I basically did a whole debrief on that. But I'm just going to get into this whole story here because we have the time, and I feel like this is valuable for explaining the sake of the weekly cull goal. Generally speaking, my space is organized, right? Like I said, I'm not really a weekly reset person. I kind of am always doing small things to keep my space clean 24/7. But there were a few glaring, like red flags, we'll call them, that I just couldn't get myself to figure out. First is that my apartment really didn't have good flow. Like, I knew where everything is, and it was objectively organized enough, but it wasn't like organized, if that makes sense. It was kind of like a little bit messy. And I felt like my pantry and my kitchen specifically just wasn't set up in a way that actually makes sense for where things are. Same with my bedroom, or not my bedroom, my bathroom. Like, everything in there, I have drawers and stuff underneath my sink, but like my shower stuff is all over the place, and the drawers are not organized by type. And like my medicine cabinet was a bit of a disaster. Like, it just wasn't organized, to be transparent. Like, everything was put away, which in my mind, like, that means it's clean, but it wasn't thoughtfully and intentionally put in a place that made sense for the sake of like really honing down, like, I am that girl. My closet too, as you know, has been a work in progress. It's pretty much, I'm never going to say it's there, but like, we are in a good spot in my closet. But I knew deep in my soul that I was keeping and hanging onto clothes that I was never going to wear again. But I just had a hard time letting them go because I either spent money on them and didn't get enough wear out of them, in my opinion, or they seem perfectly fine and nice, but they're just not my style. So that was something that like I have really had a hard time with last year. We finally got past it, which I'll explain in a second. And then my entryway closet. So when you walk into my apartment, there's a closet right on the left. It was a disaster, okay? I had cluttery things in there that made no sense. And then I have another closet. You can't see it in the frame here on YouTube, but essentially when you walk into my apartment, to the left, there's a closet. I was using that as my coat closet. And then if you keep walking forward past my bathroom, there's another double closet, and that is like storage, and was just all random stuff in there. Like, it was a throwaway closet. Again, for the sake of, it's in there and it's put away, but it's not organized thoughtfully. So I called in the big guns, AKA my friend Amy, who is not only exceptionally organized, but she's very, very talented at organizing. I personally think she should do it as a business. But beyond that, she is also ruthless in the way that she approaches, like, do you use this? Do you need this? I don't like this. You should get rid of this. And she really did help me with pulling the trigger on getting rid of stuff. Like, she came over for 2 afternoons during that week between like Christmas and New Year's 2 weeks ago, when everybody was off. And here's what we did. First, we cleaned out and organized my bathroom. So I got organized for my shower product, or organizers for my shower products that stick to the wall. before I had a little bench, and the issue was that the water was like spraying directly onto my products, and I noticed that some of them started to get a little bit moldy. So I had to get rid of all of that, obviously. And not only is that wasteful, but like it's just also gross. So we got organizers for my shower wall, and organized them all nice and neat. And so now the products are not like in the direct line of the water. And that solves a multitude of problems. We organized the under sink drawers that I had. So like now everything is themed by like overflow, dental, period products, stuff for my eyes because I have contacts and whatnot. And then we created an overflow drawer. And the overflow drawer purpose is to store extra products. And when it's full, that's a sign that I have too much and I need to make decisions, use things up, call, donate, or give to a friend. So the goal is to avoid having too much that I can't get through it before it expires. I didn't realize how many expired products I had as well. So that was like a really disappointing thing. And now underneath there, I'm just feeling so much more clean and neat. We also organized my medicine cabinet. So my medicine cabinet has 3 shelves. So we have 1 shelf for my morning skincare, 1 shelf for my evening skincare, and then 1 shelf for all of my like dental stuff. So my tongue scraper, my toothpaste, my mouthwash, my toothbrush, all of that. Really, really nice and clean. So then it's not sitting on my counter. So love that. Feeling good. Next, we organized my entryway closets. So as I mentioned, I have 2. The small one by the door and then the bigger one. Essentially what we did was we turned the small one by the door into like a storage utility closet. So that's where I'm keeping my suitcase and my beach chair and my vacuum and like my mop thing and just like extra stuff. So like my tool kit and my first aid kit and an air mattress and like stuff that kind of has no other place besides being in a utility closet. Like if I lived in a house, it would probably be in the garage. And then we've pivoted my bigger closet to be my landing closet. So when I come into my apartment, I go to that closet. And in there, we have all of my coats and all of my bags, which are all hung up. We created a bag basket. So we reused one of my organization baskets that I had. We took everything out of all of my pantries and cabinets and everything and reorganized things. So I have now a bag basket. So all of the stuff that I like interchange in my purses and whatnot goes into the bag basket. So that's like hand sanitizers, compact mirrors, my lip balms, my bag lip balms, because I also have my lip balms on my desk. I have a lot of lips, so whatever. My wallet, my sunglasses, all that kind of like random stuff that you throw into your purse when you're heading out, all of that stays in my bag basket. And then I can just interchange my purses and I know where everything is. Next, we did my kitchen. This was a big project. This was like an afternoon in and of itself. And we created a little bit more flow. So we cleaned out all my old stuff in the pantry, got rid of things, organized it by section. So now I have like a snack section, a canned section, a baking section. We organized all my spices. I got a spice rack. We organized my supplements. So now I have 1 container that has any vitamins, supplements, things like that. And we got some organization tools for underneath my kitchen sink. And we also set up a little coffee tea station. So where my espresso machine was, I also had my flour over there. Don't ask me why. Like it just, again, there was no flow going on. So instead, we put my flour in my baking section of my pantry and we moved my kettle to be next to my coffee machine. So now I have like a coffee tea station, and then above in the cabinet above my espresso machine and my kettle is like all my coffee cups, all my tea, everything related to that. So it's just nice and organized. So overarchingly, my kitchen was purged and organized, but also now it has a little more flow. Like my spices are in the cabinet right next to my stove, and my oils and vinegars are, in the cabinet that's on the other side of my stove where I would be making dressings and sauces, or maybe I'm using them when I'm cooking. So it just like makes more sense, which what I discovered through this process was something can be organized and still not flow. And so you want to find in your apartment or your space, a good flow and organization setup, right? So even for example, like my kitchen towels, I had been storing them in a cabinet that was like 3 or 4 cabinets down from my sink. But I'm using those at my sink usually. So like, why were they not stored in the cabinet right next to my sink? Okay. Like things like that. It makes sense, but I just like didn't really think of it because I feel like when I moved into this apartment, I was so overwhelmed with just like stuff that I just wanted to put everything away. And then I didn't have the mental energy to properly organize it. And then you get used to where stuff is, so you're not thinking about it necessarily. So she came in and really helped me with that. And then lastly, we did my closet. And this is where I needed her to be like so ruthless for me. Because like I said, even after I've done continuous purging, which I did all throughout 2025, we still managed to find 2 full trash bags worth of clothes to donate or sell or get rid of. By the way, I have some of them sitting in my closet that I haven't donated because I feel like they're clothes that are like, they should be resold or given as opposed to being donated. So if you are interested, if that's something like, if you would shop on a Poshmark or something for a few of those things, can you let me know? Because I'm not on there and I kind of feel like I should be. But anyways, I sent some to Goodwill. And I had a bunch that I knew I wasn't going to wear, but I wasn't ready to part with because they're still nice. So like those are the things that I would put on Poshmark. But anyways, we were very, very ruthless in cutting down my closet. Like I now kind of feel like I have kind of barely anything in there, but in a good way. I know everything that I have. Everything is nice and organized. All my clothes fit on one shelf, which is fantastic. We have my clothes, my tops and my pants all organized. Everything is hung properly. It's all facing the same way. We organized all of my sweaters. We reset up like a little perfume station for me. We organized my sweats. Like everything has a nice spot. It's really organized and I'm feeling very motivated to keep it clean. So generally, that's the story. And I know that was kind of like a little bit of a tangent, but it ties back to my January goal of a weekly cull. I still have small corners of my apartment that need attention. Like, for example, this drawer under my desk. I have been putting off my TV console. I got to go under there. And I just want to really dig through it and give myself a weekly task this month to release things. Even if it's only for like 15 minutes, it doesn't take a long time. It's more just like when I think about my overarching goal of leaving this apartment with less than what I brought into it, I have to hold myself accountable to that. And I feel like going through a reset process during the month of January is a really great excuse and motivation to do it. Like I'm focusing on wellness, and a big aspect of wellness is your space and being organized and like knowing what you have and using what you have. So that is going to be something that I'm doing as part of this like weekly, what did I call them? Weekly layers and weekly focus areas. So with that, let me see if there's anything else here. Nope. Okay. So that is my January wellness protocol. We have my daily anchors, which I'll say one more time, my morning wellness lineup. So my lemon water, having the coconut cold. By the way, if you're not doing the coconut cold, it's just like a yogurt probiotic. It works. And also like they're kind of good. They're a little sour. I personally like the passion fruit one and the strawberry one. I think the chocolate one is fine, but like it doesn't really taste like chocolate to me. But the passion fruit one and the strawberry one are both really good. I've been doing my morning vitamin and then coffee. So like really honing in that lineup. My expanded morning and evening skincare routine, focusing on fiber, getting my movement every day, and my sleep setup. Those are my daily anchors. And then to summarize, my weekly add-ons are the regular sauna time, so every couple of days, incorporating a face mask at night every couple of days, juicing once a week, and then organizing, culling, decluttering once a week as well. And so by the end of January, I'm going to be in a really good wellness routine. I'm going to be feeling really good. I am going to be nice and organized. And what that's going to do is just set me up to feel my best and be my best for the rest of 2026. So I would love to hear from you. If you are someone who is going to be incorporating some wellness things into January, if you have anything to add, what I will say, there are a few things in my life that are staying the same that I already do that I didn't call out here necessarily. First is my generalized fitness routine. So I talked about how I'm going to be incorporating more stretching and have been stretching a little bit more. But like I'm still sticking to the routine that I laid out in an episode a couple months back where I'm doing a weekly Pilates class. I'm doing 2 to 3 days of strength training. I have an episode about that. I'm still doing my 10K steps pretty much every single day. I'm using my Aura ring to track all of this. But what I've talked about today are just the extra things that I'm doing to really take it to the next level this month. Well, I have the time, the energy, the momentum, and the focus to do it. So with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I hope you are feeling motivated to really lock in and kick it into gear this January. If you have questions or anything you want to add, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for listening. I will catch you in the next one.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave me a review. Make sure to follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next week.